Hi there, guys and gals. It's Brad. Now, I copped the last intro, Hello Wonderful Person, from Anton Petrov, but do you know who I copped that one from? Another YouTuber who I like to watch. If you can guess, put it in the comments below. Another thing to put in the comments below, no, not in the comments below. Don't put this in the comments below. I've been thinking maybe of hosting like a Zoom session in which I would let anybody come on who wants to, and we would just have like a chat for, I don't know how long Zoom lets you have a chat, 40 minutes or an hour or something, and see how that goes. If you're interested in that, send an email to bw@hardcorezen.info and title it Zoom, and maybe we can see if there's interest in that and maybe do it. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so people were enjoying the stuff about the precepts, and I thought, let's do a little bit more. The first grave precept is do not kill. The original kanji that's put in is really means not killing life precept. That's really the only way you can interpret that. One of the earliest, this isn't the first, but one of the earliest things we have, pieces of writing we have in which somebody tries to kind of give a longer definition of that precept comes from China in the 5th century, the Brahmajala Sutra. And here's what the Brahmajala Sutra says for the first precept, do not kill. A disciple of the Buddha shall not himself kill, encourage others to kill by expedient means, praise killing, rejoice at witnessing killing, or kill through incantations or deviant mantras. He must not create the causes, conditions, methods, or karma of killing, and shall not intentionally kill any living creature. As a Buddha's disciple, he ought to nurture a mind of compassion and filial piety, always devising expedient means to rescue and protect all beings. If instead he fails to restrain himself and kills sentient beings without mercy, he commits a major offense. Okay. And in these here United States of America, this is again what I've referred to before as the evolution of the precept study material for the 2008 National Conference of Soto Zen Buddhist Association. This comes from there. Here's a few variations used mostly in the United States. Some are very easy. Not to kill. That's Nishijima Roshi's. Here's Boundless Way Zen Center. Recognizing I am not separate from all that is, I vow to take up the way of not killing. Here is Sherry Huber. She does these things where it's a key and a prohibition and an inspiration. So here it goes. Not to lead a harmful life nor encourage others to do so, not to kill. Key is gratitude. The prohibition is not killing. Aspiration, sorry, I forgot that one. To live in harmony with all life and the environment that sustains it. Inspiration, there is no separate self. Great Vow Zen Center, Zen Monastery, I think. I vow not to kill but to cherish all life. Pretty normal. Akiyama Roshi says abstinence from willful killing. Let's see. Here's a long one. Appleton Zen Center. I respect all sentient and insentient beings and always act with compassion toward them. In order to live, it is necessary for me to take life. I do so with reverence for the life taken. In gratitude, I do not take my own life for granted. And here's the longest one of all. This is only identified as Risetto, but I believe it is Diane Eshin Risetto, because I looked up Risetto Zen on Google, and that's all that came up. I take up the way of supporting life. I resolve to look squarely and with an open heart at the rage, fear, and sense of separateness that feed my impulses to harm others. Remembering that my life on earth must cause the death or suffering of many fellow creatures, I resolve with gratitude to abstain from cruelty and relieve the suffering that I can. But one of the most interesting commentaries on any of the precepts comes from Kobun Chino's book, The Embracing Mind, which I highly recommend, and I'll read to you a little bit of it. First, he gives the so-called Bodhidharma One Mind precept version of the precept, which I talked about in an earlier video. Self-nature is mysteriously profound. In the midst of eternal Dharma, not to give rise to the view of stopping and extinction is called no killing of life precept. And here's what he says. Imagine a very tough, strong, vigorous cowboy holding a gun in a showdown. The other cowboy misses his shot, and this cowboy now has another chance to control everything, but he is waiting to shoot. We see he can kill. What is going on in his mind? If he gets into a philosophical discussion with himself, he has lost his chance. If he throws away the gun, you see what is in his hand. He cannot kill. That is our true nature. And yet for survival we have to take many lives, and we basically get into this dilemma. Eating vegetables or fish is basically the same dilemma. What is it that is living? Precepts exist to cause a dilemma for us, and a deeper understanding of what this giving and taking of life is. And going a little further down, I'm going to skip a little bit. He says, if we take this precept literally, the only way to keep it is to die without food. It sets forth a contradiction. Even if we don't directly participate in killing lives, if somebody else takes a life so we can survive, it is the same thing. So precepts are not just about your ethical conduct. They have something to do with yours and others' basic nature. Bodhidharma taught, when you do not give rise to the idea of birth and extinction, this is called no killing of life. Truth of eternity, Joju Ho. Joju is eternal dwelling, Ho is truth. This precept is about giving birth to no birth, no extinction. Dogen Zenji expresses this precept, do not kill, do not let other people kill. Beyond that flourish our Buddha seeds. He covers the ethics of our life and the deeper meaning of what this life is about. We eat living food. Through our food we learn constantly how to live on this earth. We are constantly supported by all phenomenal currents of life. We are lived by all beings. That is the truth. We are lived by whom and whatever we take, by their teachings that guide us. One way to live is to show all of their natures through our existence. It is different from our usual way of continuously exploring our capacities for what we really want to do. And skipping a couple of other paragraphs, he says, Shikantaza is one immediate answer to the question of what life is all about. Shikantaza is, of course, just sitting. It's the kind of meditation that Dogen taught where you don't have any goal or object, which is what I talked about in my previous video about Zazen being good for nothing, and you just sit for the sake of just sitting. So he says Shikantaza is one immediate answer to the question of what life is all about. Getting up from Shikantaza is a continuous answer to how you live. How you live is how everything lives. For this reason, one period of sitting is not something we do as an exercise to reach some kind of enlightened state. We all know this world is the radiant dynamic of the enlightened world, enlightened functioning. There is no need to seek after enlightenment. The functioning of each sense organ is part of the experiencing of enlightenment. Every second, many elements of enlightenment are happening. Life was born as awakened existence. That's some good stuff, and of course what he's saying is true. The dilemma of the precept of not to kill is that even if you are the strictest vegan in the world, you are taking some sort of life in order to sustain your own life, and if you decide to kill yourself because you just can't stand taking life anymore, well, you've taken your own life and you again violated the precept, so there's no way to get out of it. So the question becomes more philosophical if you dig into it. It is, what is extinction, what is stopping, and what is enlightenment? These are big questions, much too big for a YouTube video. But what Koban says here is that enlightenment is taking place at every moment. This, right now, you watching this YouTube video, me making this YouTube video, is a moment of enlightened or awakened existence, whether we understand that or not. And the project of Zen is to bring our understanding in line with reality. But, of course, one of the problems is your understanding, your mind, as I said in maybe 2 videos ago, this discriminating mind that divides subject and object and everything else can never fully encompass the awakened understanding of all things being unified. So all you can do is just kind of get close to that. And one of the ways you get close to that is by kind of dropping the thinking mind. So the thinking mind is there, and when I say dropping it, I don't mean destroying it or demolishing it or damaging it in some way. I mean, you just kind of let it do its thing, and you do your thing, which is sit in silence, not wanting anything. Now, as far as that view of cutting off the idea of stopping an extinction, this is difficult, because you can get into some weird ideas about reincarnation or eternal life or anything like that and say, well, there's no extinction because everything just reincarnates. And, that might be true, but I don't think that is what we're getting at with this idea that Bodhidharma, or supposedly Bodhidharma, said. It wasn't really Bodhidharma, but I covered that in a couple videos ago. The fact is that the only real moment is this moment, this one moment, which is eternity itself. You are an expression of eternity itself, and eternity is not... I think in science there's this idea of time-like eternity, and we're not talking about an eternity that exists in time. We're talking about an eternity that exists outside of time, and you exist outside of time. You exist outside of any idea of stopping and extinction. So there, chew on that one for a little while. And while you're chewing on that, if you want to send me a donation for me to go buy things to chew on, oh, that was a good transition, you can send it here to the address you're seeing on your screen, or if you're watching on YouTube, there are direct links to my Patreon and PayPal accounts below, and you can send it there, and I really appreciate it. That is actually how I make my living, is mostly through donations that people send after watching these videos. So thank you very much for your support, and as I always say, if you're having financial trouble, if things are difficult for you, don't send me a donation. That's not what I want. But those of you who are sending them in, thank you so much, because that is how it happens. See you later. Have a good time all the time. Bye.